I actually got to commentate this match. Yeah, this is Steve and I believe. So this is an interesting match. I like that Steve, man, Steve's such a good commentator. Steve asked me about this matchup at the start of the match. Like, he sort of asked me how I felt Urian versus Cammy went. And we talked about it a little bit. But, what's it called? Basically, the way this matchup goes in a lot of ways is that Cammy has really strong, really fast, mid-range, medium pokes. And Urian is not going to have the best buttons to whiff punish those or interrupt them. So his strategy a lot of the times is to kind of play hit and run or stick to fierce. So the main thing that Dogura is going to do here that you're going to look for a lot of the times is he's going to walk around in this range, try to bait a medium button, and then hit fierce to crush them, right? That's kind of the idea. Besides that, he's going to be dashing forward and backwards a lot, trying to move around and really avoid staying still against Cammy. You don't want to get dive kicked a lot. That's bad news. It's not easy to always anti-air them. And you don't want to stand and fight against her medium buttons, because if you whiff a fierce or something, then you die. So this matchup is fine as long as you stay mobile and you don't get pinned down by Cammy. Also, reversal headbutt is really powerful against Cammy's pressure, actually. So that's one thing to keep in mind for sure. Reversal light punch headbutt is really, oh my god. Reversal light punch headbutt is really good against Cammy because her pressure is often from lights, and so they recover really fast and allow you to just get out of there. All right, good example. In this range right here, this kind of mid-range, when she backs off a little bit, right about here. Urian doesn't have the fastest buttons to poke back here, so he tries fierce. And Cammy's really good about interrupting stuff like that, right? Like her pressure in this range is really tough for Urian to deal. Yeah, you see that? That should have went his way. If he buffered drill, it would have got him. Damn, that was a crazy block. He has mirror too. I don't expect he'll spend it though. Yeah. So that's kind of the range where you need to excel at. That was one mistake, but look at this. Delay, headbutt to catch the throw. You see that? Delayed headbutt is really powerful. It loses to down jab. So if Verloren does down jab here, he just goes right under the headbutt. But as you can see, Urian, he waits a second, gets his charge, just long enough for Verloren to react to a throw, and he just gets stunned. And it's a one-hit stun, right? Which means that the scaling on this is almost non-existent. Yeah, Nemo said the best in Street Fighter 5 for him, Tokido, Fudo, Daigo, Yukon. It's a really interesting list, actually. I'm glad that Yukon is on that list. Yukon's crazy good. Yeah, jump. You have to kind of... You can't fight in one spot here as Urian. You kind of have to move around a lot. You can't just stand there and fight. You got to stick and move. Yeah, see, dashing in a little bit. Crushed him. Yeah, there's a sub icon. Damn, stuffed. If he hit quick fierce, he would have got him there. I think Verloren plays a little too fast, and man, he missed that confirm. He's had a few like miss confirms.
See Dogura just dash and jump out of the corner. He's like, I don't want to be here. I don't like this position. I'm out of here.
All right, Aegis activation. Oh, the low. So 50-50, and you're meaty enough to get the combo after. That's the best part about this setup, right? So when you do this mirror setup, you can go left or right here. Right, so what happens is you let Urian switch sides, and when he switches sides, you do forward medium punch on the other side. I'm looking forward to thanking Madman for more subscribing. Thanks very much, Madman, for the Twitch Prime sub. So you hit this forward strong, and right after you connect with this, you have the option to walk forward either really far or kind of shallowly. And what happens is you walk far forward, you end up over here, and Cammy falls between you and the mirror. If you stay kind of like right where Urian is right now, Cammy will fall over here, and you'll be in the front. So you can choose what side you want to end up on. So he walks under, and the strong will bounce her off the mirror and actually allow you to combo crouching fierce, which is big ass damage, right? Charged up fireballs, more damage, and then boom, tackle. It's a really, really powerful setup. So if you watch it in kind of fast motion here, it's really hard to see. Boom, cross under, right? It's so tough to see.
3 bars spent, the round stolen.
So I watched Dogura play like Urian, right? And I'm like, he turns it on at the...
Almost no other Urian goes to that reset as much as Dogura. He really likes it. I feel like everybody else like kind of just would rather fight with the second mirror on the ground. But Dogura's just like, nah, man. Try that shit. on this mix-up. Boom, left, right. And it's just like, all right, it's really good. Yep. Probably Urian's best button here to intercept stuff. You just kind of walk into their range, walk out of the range, and stick out standing medium punch, right? And you buffer tackle, right? It's a really good button, right? Because if it connects, boom. Hard, or you get that knockdown, decent damage off of it. Push to the corner. Checked him with the quick chop. It's a good adjustment, right? Last time they were in that scenario, Dogura did the longer chop, the charge fierce. Valorant interrupted it, so he was, you know, Dogura was checking. He was like, look, last time I saw you do that, so this time I'm going to check. Oh, yeah, he got him. Stun. No, he doesn't have the bar, huh? Ah, throw bait. He lost a lot of time there by doing drill instead of uppercut. Yeah, Dogura's really dangerous right now. Oh, he tried crouching medium kick. That was actually, that could have been the end of the round. If he missed his drill, he misses his drill right here. If he punished the landing frames with jab strong into V trigger, that could have been over. That could have been the end of our days, you know? That could have been the end. You know the crazy part about this match, too, is this is first round losers bracket at Capcom Cup. Throws off the anti-air timing of Urian. See that? Twice in a row. There's two series in a row where this is what you can see about the anti-air solution. You have to force Urian to deal with this ground game, right? He tries crouching fierce, completely loses. Then, what's it called? Hooligan. So he caught him sleeping there, and Dogura was like, all right, motherfucker. You're gonna jump at me. You're gonna hooligan at me. Next time you jump at me, I'm gonna anti-air the shit out of you. Boom, roundhouse. Counter hit. So, this is why it's important to represent the air approach as Cammy against Urian, right? Because, as you can see, he tried two different options there, and both of them lost cleanly to regular dive kick and EX dive kick. So that's why it's really important to switch around those different air approach options so that it throws off Urian's timing. Then, once he is committed to anti-airing, the real best option Urian has is the down charge, right? So he has to stay crouching, charge EX headbutt, and try to anti-air with it. And when you're doing that, Verloren can walk up and take the space he wants, right?
It's important, right? If you throw off your air approach like that, you have to kind of mess with him like this. You see this? He's really struggling to deal with the air approach.
Shut up, pass Sajam. I already beat you to it. Yeah, final round is in March, right? Shallow dive kick. You see no anti-air attempt from... Damn. There was no anti-air attempt from Dogura against the dive kick. He had lost so many anti-air opportunities in a row that he didn't even try it. Didn't even try it. And you can't blame him, right? A bunch of things lost in a row. So I like that switch in strategy from Verloren. You go to the air approach much more and force him to, like, sort of respect the air game. And then once you do that, you can move in on the ground a little bit more, right? That's the option. Nice anti-air. So, yeah, right there, he counterattacks with forward medium punch. I like this button a little bit more from Dogura in this matchup. I think it's one of the better buttons to counterattack with, and the specific reasoning is exactly what you see here. So, forward medium punch, preemptively as a counter poke, is really great because it beats people when they jump, right? So you can see Cammy's trying to jump there and approach in the air, and this is the immediate adjustment from Dogura. He says, all right, if you're going to go to the air more, then I will start to use forward medium punch a little bit more to stuff you out of the air. Yeah, see, he goes for it again. And it's like a preemptive way to beat the air approach. Again, yeah, elbow, not always the best answer. Like, yeah, you can tell he really wants it, right? He tries the elbow here. As soon as this series ends from Verloren, what does he do here? He does forward medium punch right here. Looking for jump. See this? He's really looking to beat jump.
He's struggling to deal with it for sure.
And it's really hard to get a combo at that height on Urian because he's so tall.
And there's almost no time where Dogura can get comfortable and find the hits.
Yeah, air approach again.
Air approach after air approach. And then
He has to stay ducking to beat that EX headbutt. See? So that's kind of how this matchup's gonna go, right? If Urian commits to down back and just waits, right? If he just sits here and waits, then he can actually anti-air whatever Cammy does, right? Because you can just EX headbutt. It has invincibility, and it'll just go through it. But you have to commit the down charge. So if you get Dogura committed to down charge, then you can now move around better, right? Because when you're down charging, you can't move, right? You can't walk back and forth. You can't adjust your spacing. You just have to sit there and go down charge. Again, yeah, he's fishing for forward medium punch try, counter hit. or to catch her out of the air. And now if you're Verloren and you see sort of that he is looking for a lot more movement from Dogura too, that he's looking for the air approach a lot by ducking, then you just start dashing up in his face because he's not going to be ready for it. I like that. I like that he spaced them out of the crouching medium kick. I don't like cornering yourself against Aegis, but, you know. That was probably a knee drop miss. Pretty safe. I like this V reversal a lot because there's not really that much that Urian does here if you V reversal right here and he has no bar to catch you and you just get out of there, right? Mirror is super far away from you, right? The mirror is all the way over there now and Cammy's got space to work with. You know, she's in a good position. Do I think the game should have crouch walk? No, because it would probably be too powerful. Oh, I forgot about it. Look at my man go. Wait, was saying JD? Look at JDCR's face. Ah, look at Sate's face. He's like, what the fuck is going on over there? I didn't notice their faces originally. JDCR loves SFV. Dude, we couldn't drag him off of it. So when we did that HyperX event, like, JDCR was playing the Street Fighter V the entire time. I played him in Street Fighter V. He's pretty good. He was playing Daigo. He played Tokido. Him and Tokido played in Street Fighter V. With this is the rule. They're like, all right, we're going to play in Street Fighter V. Or JDCR said, I want to play you in Street Fighter V, but we also have to play in Tekken. And Tokido was like, yes, of course. That sounds great. Because, like, you know, Tokido used to play Tekken a lot. Yeah, JDCR is diamond with Akuma. He's a Kuma player. He's definitely a Tokido fanboy, you can tell. Because I was sitting there playing, Steve and I were playing Tokido, and then, what's it called? JDCR was just like, oh, like, he was kind of watching, and I was like, do you want to play Tokido? He's like, I just, you know, and I was like, nah, man, just play him. And he's like, all right. That was an uppercut. Yeah, they both told me that they think Street Fighter V is harder than Tekken, but I told them that they're both crazy. That was really smart. So block on the uppercut, and the only reason he had to respect the uppercut there is because of V-trigger, right? Invincible free uppercut attempt. Crush counter fierce. Look at the decision making, right? Dash forward and take the throw. Because throw will build you the most bar. If you look at Urian's meter down here in the bottom, it builds him hella bar, right? Boom, hella bar, and it stuns. So he gets to dash up and do another throw right after he whiffs these headbutts. Boom. Look at how much bar he builds. That's a full bar meter.
There's the look at the collapse of the crowd.
I basically, they told me that they feel, I was talking to JDCR about it, and he basically said that he felt that spacing in Street Fighter was really hard because in Tekken, Jesus, what a fucking Neanderthal wake up. This is what he said. He basically was talking about the differences between the two games. And he said, in Tekken, it's easier in neutral because there's more places to move and avoid things. So when you're playing neutral with someone, you can move back and just kind of escape from whatever they're doing, right? And he said, and if anything comes out or like somebody's doing some shit, you just block, right? And it's not a big deal. And it is a big deal that Ticking Insanity has given me that Twitch Prime sub. Thanks very much. So he says, like, basically, yeah, it's easier to space because there's more places to run. But he said in Street Fighter, it's harder because you can only move left and right. So your spacing has to be perfect because you're only moving in like this kind of dimension. Like if you're spacing on, like basically he's saying like, look, if your horizontal spacing is not good in Tekken, but you sidestep the right way, then you'll escape whatever move it was, right? Or if you know, if you happen to be backdashing and somebody doesn't move and you just block it because it's a mid, then, you know, even though your spacing wasn't right, you still blocked it, right? But in Street Fighter, it's like left, right, and there's chip damage is what he said. I don't think he is right in the sense that Street Fighter V is harder. I told him that I think he's just not used to playing 2D games, which is why he probably thinks it's harder. And he said, yeah, you might be right. He said that might have something to do with it. But he was just explaining that it feels very different. He feels like it's easier in Tekken to just like block and be safe in the neutral than it is in Street Fighter, because in Street Fighter there's chip and you can only move left and right. And he is saying basically like when you move backwards and like if you're fighting in Tekken, right? The two guys are fighting in Tekken and you want to make this move whiff. If you're back and this guy moves in and he happens to still catch you, you can block, right? And you're like, all right, well, my spacing wasn't right, but I blocked because it's a mid or whatever, right? It's really interesting. in talking with him, and he felt that, yeah, that's one thing actually that he felt that in Street Fighter there was more of a, it was like in Tekken, if you're wrong on your spacing, it's not as big of a deal generally as it is in Street Fighter. Like if you make a mistake, it's like a big deal. I told him basically that I think he's just not used to Street Fighter, which is why he thinks that way, but that over time he'll become more comfortable with it and he'll realize that Tekken is fucking hard. He's played Tekken for so long that it's probably hard for, in his brain, he's just so used to playing Tekken that there's almost no way that he can think about it as hard nowadays, you know? It's you know, that's just sort of how he thinks about it. And I talked to Saint and he said basically the same thing, like, you know, it's, yeah. And he even said something like, yeah, in Tekken you don't have to move all the time, like you can just kind of stand there and block if you're not sure what's gonna happen. And I was like, nah, bro, have you ever seen yourself play? You're moving the whole time. He's sidestepping and sidewalking and backdashing and ducking and moving. It's crazy. So, yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting. It was an interesting conversation. Yeah, look at this Neanderthal wake up, by the way. It's why I want to make a video. Look at this dash up fucking, I think he read a jump or something. I don't know what it was. Neanderthal wake up, though. But I think the way I think about it is that getting used to the neutral game, in any fighting game is pretty difficult. Right? It's just one of those things that takes practice, which is why I wanted to make a video talking about neutral in all kinds of different fighting games and show how they're different, right? Because the neutral in Street Fighter looks very different from the neutral in Tekken and the neutral in Guilty Gear and etc. Damn, what a whiff punish. Yeah, the no chip damage is a big reason for it. So, you know, the thing is that many people saw the tweet about Saint saying that he thought it was hard and they didn't get to, like, you know, they didn't get to expand on their thoughts on, man, that dash was so fucking risky. Just do a mirror on wake up, right? Just do a close, all right. Yeah, no V trigger, yeah. Yeah, nice and safe there from Dogura. I like that a lot. Nice and safe, right? Don't do anything too risky. What does neutral look like in Marvel? Neutral in Marvel is a lot more focused on movement and avoidance. Look, clap. Yeah, look at him go. Let's go. That was pretty good. Yeah, neutral in other games just looks different, right? You see the way Dogura's fighting against Cammy on the ground? He is playing a lot more whiff-based, right? Just whiffing normals. Like, you know, trying to buffer and stuff. He's not doing anything too crazy. I like the walk-back defense. Getting a little tighter here from Dogura. Explain Guilty Gear neutral. It's one of those things you have to watch. When we watch it, I can kind of explain the difference between them. You're looking for the same kinds of things in neutral, even if you don't realize it. Neutral is not that different in every game. Like, the idea behind it, that was a good try. I think this is what he was looking for when he did that Neanderthal wake-up. He's trying to dash under the jump and down fierce on the other side, right? Yeah, Infiltration's hair looks great. I told him, I was like, your hair looks so good. Counter hit, get him. I heard this combo doesn't work next season. I heard that counter hit is not as plus anymore. If that's true, I'm going to be real tight, I'll be honest with you. That's one of my favorite things to do with Urian. Oh, chase with the headbutt. He wanted a juggle. So, see this? This is a good example of what we were talking about earlier, right? Dogura stays down blocking after the V-trigger is activated. Do you see this? He's looking for the air approach. That's why he whiffs the jab there. He stands up because of that, and that's what allows the dive kick to come out. He doesn't have charge anymore. He's just down. He's staying down blocking because he's trying to fight from crouch position because he wants to have down charge for EX headbutt if he does jump dive kick. All right? That's all he wants. He wants to beat the air approach. Back throw. Just take that little bit of damage. Again, dash on wake up. He knows that Cammy doesn't have advantage, and he expects a jump, so just dash on wake up. This time he doesn't have the down fierce ready. Boom. Crouching fierce has one more frame startup in AE. Son of a bitch. I'm really scared. I don't want them to over nerf Urian. He's a really good character right now, but he's so fun. He's like such a fun character to play, you know? And I don't want them to... The thing I'm worried about in AE is that they'll over nerf the fun character. Man, that's hard to deal with. They'll over nerf all the fun characters and the game will end up feeling bare bones. I really hope that doesn't happen. Got him out of the air. No! That sucks. That's a super bummer right there for Verloren. I wonder if he tried CA there or what it was. I don't know. Or maybe he thought he had more trigger. I'm not sure. If you look at the top tiers, they have ways to ignore neutral. EX Dash Punch, EX Tackle into Aegis, EX Kunai, etc. EX Thanking Grafts for the Twitch Prime over there. I mean, I wouldn't say that that is the big strength that allows them to ignore neutral. I think the real strengths of almost all the top tier characters are actually their neutral buttons. Right? I think almost all of them, the neutral buttons are really, really, really powerful. Yeah, standing heavy punch dash down fierce doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore. What should be the main takeaway? So the main takeaway that we saw at the start of the match range. So here's the thing about Urien versus Cammy, right? Is that you can't win straight up on the ground very easily as Cammy. So here's what you do. You stay out of her range and you buffer standing medium punch into tackle. You try to, when she gets super buttonsy on the ground, you try to step back out of the range and check her with fierce so that you crush her medium buttons, because Cammy's going to hit medium, 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 medium over and over, right? So once Cammy players recognize that they can't, that ground game you can contest a little bit better, they're going to start jump dive kicking you a shit ton. And in that range, you just have to respect it, because as long as they dive kick you and you stand block it, Urien is so tall that she'll be negative because you're standing all the way up and the dive kick hits you up here, right? Like if, you know, Urien is like, he gets dive kicked to this height, and a character who's shorter than him, like Ryu or something, right? He gets dive kicked like down here. So there can be more advantage, right? Is one thing to think about. Yeah, look at the phantom me in the background over there. I don't like that. Let's all right. So, yeah, that's one thing to think about. And the second thing is when she's in V-trigger, she's always going to dive kick. So stay down blocking to have charge for EX headbutt, because that's your only consistent anti-air. So for the Cammy player has to try to force you to get stuck just blocking buttons or dealing with the dive kicks. As a Urien, you have to move around a lot. You have to run, and you have to be careful in that range, right? Because if you just sit there and fight, you're going to be in trouble. Right, that's going to be a bad option. As Urien, you have to stay mobile. You have to stay out of her range and buffer buttons to beat her footsies. Counter poke with buffered standing medium punch and stuff like that. Those are like the main kind of ways to fight against Cammy in that matchup. So yeah. Boom. Whoa, everything's all... What happened over here? I leave for a few days and just everything gets wild, huh?